Hey guys, I'm Tom. In this video I will put the last nail into the coffin that's called helicopter piloting. I will review and give a guide to the Oppressor Mark II. So first the general information. To buy the Oppressor Mark II you need the nightclub, and to upgrade it you need the terabyte. You can buy the Oppressor Mark II at Warstock for 3.9 million or for the trade price of 2.9 million if you completed 5 client jobs. But it can be glitchy sometimes. A friend got it after 3, I got it after 8. Well, might be fixed by now, I don't know. It has only one seat and it has a primary and a secondary color. It has 20 liveries. Now to the performance. I will also include the climb speed because that's relevant for the PvP stuff, because you need to know this if you fight against these with a helicopter. So the top speed on land is 203 km per hour and the top speed in the air is 138 km per hour. The climb speed is 39 km per hour. This is slower than most helicopters, only the cargo bob climbs slower as far as I know. The armor is pretty much non-existent. It explodes after one weak explosive or stronger, or 2 explosive sniper shots. 250 rounds minigun will also destroy the bike. However, it has countermeasures like chaff or flares, or you can put some fancy smoke on it if that's your thing, but that's not very good. The weapons of the MKII are the regular machine gun. The range is 100 meters, the fire rate is 900 RPM, it does 5.5% damage on a level 100 plus player. So it takes 19 shots to kill and 1.3 seconds is the time to kill. It's really bad. The other machine gun is explosive. Its range is 150 meters, so it's longer. The fire rate is slower, it's 228 RPM. It does 66% damage to a level 100 plus player. This includes the splash, so it doesn't have a damage drop off at the edge of the splash, like some other explosions. It takes 2 shots to kill and 0.5 seconds is the time to kill. There's no ragdolling when getting hit by this explosion. And it's also a unique explosion. It takes like 5 shots to destroy a laser or a hydra and 3 shots to destroy a regular car by an NPC. The missiles are the main weapon you should use. Their range is 545 meters and the lock-on range is 300 meters. The fire rate is 60 RPM and the missile speed is 426 km per hour. The tracking is very good, you can't really dodge those with a helicopter. The ammo limit is 20. So is the Oppressor Mark II worth it? Yes, it is. It's one of the strongest vehicles in the game at the moment, and there is not really a good counter against it, so if you need to use something very strong, then this would be a vehicle to pick. Also, the regular Oppressor can't fight back, so yeah, it is very worth it for the PvP value. For PvE it's not that worth it, but well, it right now is because of the speed glitch, but without the speed glitch the regular Oppressor would be still better, or the buzzard. So for PvE it's not as worth it, but for PvP it's a must have. So now to the guide for the Oppressor Mark II. First, to dodge missiles, if it's a spam you can just reverse in circles or fly forward in circles slowly. If it's Oppressor tracking or worse. If it's better, then of course you need to use a chaff countermeasure or the flares if it's single missiles, but there are only 2 vehicles that have slow firing super missiles. That would be the Vigilante and the Scramjet, which I make a guide to very soon. For single missiles you can just fly towards it and let it pass like always, like with helicopter. To fight players on foot you have to put a bit practice to this aiming down, which is kinda weird because there's a fixed angle where it stops. You have to get the timing down and then just shoot someone, because it's really hard to kinda drag shot with the Oppressor. Yeah, you also need to practice lining up fast and shooting, so you don't sit on the same spot forever. Like for example, I tried that aiming, it just kept wiggling my bike up and down to get the aim on him and the guy just sniped me off. So this should not happen. Against players in cars, helicopters, slow turning planes, just spam the lock-on missiles. They can't evade. And if they evade one, then the next gets them. It's so random if you dodge or not. It's, well, Stromberg missiles. kinda, just at a very high range. Against the Deluxo, you can just reverse and shoot a missile like with a buzzard. The same strategy works. You have about 6 seconds between your lock on and the Deluxo catching up to lock on himself. So you just spam 2-3 missiles and it's dead. You don't even need to use chaff. The same might work against the other Noobcars, but to be safe you can also pop chaff and just spam the missiles while they can't. Also applies when you fight other oppressors, including the Mark II. You just have to be careful. The other guy might have a better timing with the chaff and gets you. Against the Stromberg, the chaff is very important. I mean, you can outrange it in open places, or if it gets stuck. But if not, then you just have to spam missiles, pop chaff when the Stromberg could aim at you, then fly above it, fly away, come back, shoot more missiles, and repeat this until the Stromberg is dead. Against jets, you make them circle with one homing missile and try to free aim them out of their circle. It's pretty hard to hit. Or use explosive cannon, but in this case you need some dump jet pilots that's only doing horizontal turns around you the whole time, or have a friend that makes him horizontal turn with a homing missile. Against Avengers you just spam the missiles, they are pretty easy to hit, and if you run out of missiles, land, despawn, respawn, attack again. It's pretty easy. You just need to be careful for the pilot because he might try to shop you with big rotor blades. You just have to dodge this with a well-timed boost, and then you're good to go to take down the flying fortress. So now the extra part. That's what I meant when I said putting the last nail into the coffin, that's helicopter piloting. So first the speed glitch. You just boost and move up and down constantly. You can see gameplay in the background for this. It might get patched, but at the moment it's a thing, and it's probably gonna be a thing until then the next downloadable DLC drops. I really doubt it's gonna be fixed by a tunable. You can also engage this when exiting the upside down flight. I will come to this a bit later. For fun, I tested the speed glitch speed and I got 367 km per hour. That's much faster than any jet in the game. So you will outrun any missile, unless they have super long range and you just fly straight, but that's not gonna happen. Another trick with the Oppressor that's not useful in most situations, I think, is hanging on ceilings. Like if you have an edge and you drive over it slowly, and under the edge is some kind of ceiling, like you will see in the video what I mean, then the Oppressor kind of sticks to the surface and it's just upside down. You can sometimes, or most of the times, even drive there, but steering is a bit difficult. And you might just end the upside down hanging accidentally. There is a way to get faster altitude or lose altitude. You need buildings for this, so again for the Oppressor, the middle of the city is the best place to be. You just drive up a building and pull back, and then it just goes 90 degrees straight up. It's very fast. If you want to go down, you either reverse against the building while pushing forward, or you do the hanging on ceilings trick to get the bike to the angle so it looks down, and then just push the stick forward and maybe boost. But sometimes it just ends randomly and you fly normally again. To end it manually, you just have to pull back. For PvP, another trick to get more angles on people is to transition from the hanging on ceilings trick and using that moment to shoot. Like you will aim straight down like this. If the target is near a building, you can hit him, either when it's looking down or mid-transition. You can also drive up a building and steer to the side to get a steeper angle. Now the last part of the extra part, the super combat mode. Or to put it in simple terms, upside down flying. To engage this, you just fly up a building, like you wanna climb it, and you just keep pulling back until the bike goes upside down. You can also get this with the hanging on ceiling method, and you just pull back so the bike doesn't stick to the surface anymore when you go away from the ceiling. Or you just drive slowly backwards on a surface, and as soon as the bike sticks to the side of the object, you accelerate and pull back. But that's a little bit harder to do, and even harder to do is driving up a building and going to the side and roll the bike upside down, because there it's very likely that you just crash somewhere and fall off. Once you are upside down, you have to fight the auto stabilization all the time. This makes it really hard to learn, steer and go into the direction you want to go. If you want to steer to a side, I recommend to roll the bike and then just press down or up depending on the direction, and then just worry about the bike not rolling back to the normal state. The advantage of this is that it enables you to shoot at any angle downwards. You just pull back so the bike faces down and you can shoot missiles. You can also hit reverse when you're aiming down. Like this you can aim down a bit longer and make the missiles rain. But aiming itself doesn't get easier like this. So it's still extremely hard. Like you have to use this fast moving reticle all the time. Pretty much. It's slower when you don't use when you don't try to hover, but then you have not enough time for multiple shots. But if you choose to hover about someone, you need to really make it short. Like if you slow down too much, like if you reverse too long, in better words, the bike will force itself to the normal state. If you feel like you're close to that point, you just need to hit the boost because it's always filled when you do this. And then you can just fight the auto stabilization easy again and fly more upside down. One thing to note is, in that flying technique, the limitations of gaining and losing altitude do not apply anymore. That means you can outclimb any helicopter, or you can out-descend any helicopter. I don't even know the term for this, but the diving below Oppressor thing would not work, because you can just follow very easily. So that was the advantages and what you can do with this. Now the disadvantages. First, it takes practice, and it's hard to aim like that. So don't expect that it's very easy to do and very viable unless you really master this. That's why it's not in the PvP-Guide, because it's just too hard to include it there. Another disadvantage is, when you are upside down, the falling off thing is actually a thing for the MKII Oppressor. So hit anything upside down, you will fall off. It's even easier than with the regular Oppressor, to be honest. Also, it's quite easy to accidentally end the upside down flight, making it tedious to learn or use. Like in PvP, it's quite annoying if you accidentally are normal again. You have to look for some object or building to get yourself upside down again. It might be possible if you have another Oppressor or something, because some weird physics stuff can happen, but solo you can't do it on the fly. You have to get a building or an object to start off with upside down. Another problem is your awareness of the surroundings or reacting to them is harder, because it can be quite confusing if you fly upside down, and it's also harder to dodge objects. Like you can influence the direction the bike goes, but you can't make fine adjustments. Like try flying through any gap on purpose, for example. Just the crane on the construction site, between the building and the crane. You might think it's easy because the bike is small, but trust me, it's not easy. Bike can just decide to randomly go into a direction and then either crash or have to completely disengage the upside down flight or dodge the whole situation. That's about the disadvantages. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, give it a like. If you are new, subscribe to my channel. And yeah, gonna start working on the scramjet guide, I guess. Have a nice day.